Good morning, fifth grade. Today we're going to continue reading in our novel, Homer P. Fig. But before we get started, we have a summary. So get ready to fill in the blank. When Homer arrives in New Jersey, when Homer arrives in New Jersey, he thinks he found Harold. Once the soldier turns around, Homer realized that it is not Harold. Homer is devastated, but he tells the soldier to look out for Harold. Homer also tells the soldier to tell Harold that his brother is dying, so he should return home as soon as possible. Homer rejoins the caravan, and he gets ready for his first show that night. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the focus question. We want to know, why does Homer connect with his role of pig boy in the traveling medicine show? How does his reaction to an interest in this role build on what we already know about him as a character? Our vocabulary words for today are savage, and that just describes someone who lives out in the wilderness or in an uncivilized area, so you would draw a line to this picture. Homer is compared to a savage in the traveling medicine show because he is supposed to be like wild. The next word is endowed, and that is to give someone a quality or an ability. So we would draw a line to this picture. Someone is pretending like they're giving something to someone. And then the last one is indignity, and that's when you cause someone to feel shame. So we draw a line to this statue that looks shameful. Turn the page, and we are on page 126 in our book, chapter 24, 3 Oinks for Homer Fig. And we'll be using our CSPS strategy as we read. Let's start at the top of page 126. When the last blue twilight finally fades from the evening sky, the soldiers begin to arrive in groups of 2 or 3, whispering to one another and laughing quietly. They're not supposed to be here, watching a medicine show, but are meant to be back in their tents fast asleep. One evening is all we spend at any encampment, Minnie explains, covering her tattooed arms with long, puffy, clip-on sleeves. Folks like us, traveling kinds of folks, we must keep moving or the law will catch us. What we're doing, selling bottles of medicine, that's against the law? Not exactly, she says uneasily, not meeting my eyes. It's more that strangers are never truly welcome, not for long. When the show begins, we're inside the main wagon. Minnie, because she's putting on her long sleeves, and me because I'm the amazing pig boy and can't show my face until the end. Peeking out through the canvas, I watch as Professor Fleabottom claps his hands and leaps up on a little wooden platform that tips down from the side of the wagon. So we'll stop right there because we have information about the characters and the setting. And so we know that Homer and Minnie are inside the wagon at the beginning of the show. And so in box 1A, we would write, Homer is inside the main wagon with Minnie because he needs to stay hidden until the end of the show. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. And for the quote, we will write down this last sentence on page 126. When the show begins, we're inside the main wagon. Minnie because she's putting on her long sleeves, and me because I'm the amazing pig boy and can't show my face until the end. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the setting. And we know that Homer, it's at night, and Homer is at an army camp with Professor Fleabottom participating in the traveling medicine show. And so in box 2A, we would write, it is night outside the army camp where Professor Fleabottom is holding his traveling medicine show. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. And we would write down this first quote at the top of page 126 that says, when the last blue twilight finally fades from the evening sky, soldiers begin to arrive in groups of 2 or 3, whispering to one another and laughing quietly. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to keep reading. All right, and as we continue to read, we're going to listen for the problem. Oops. There we go. So we are at his hat is tall. Top of page 127. His hat is tall, his knee-high boots are polished like black glass, and the buttons on his coat at $5 gold pieces are $5 gold pieces that glow like little suns in the light of the oil lanterns. Good evening to all you brave gentlemen. Welcome to the caravan of miracles. May Almighty God bless the Union Army and deliver it from losing time and again. With all you new recruits being trained to kill your fellow man, surely victory will soon follow. And to help you along the way, to ease the woes and pains of the battlefield, and to pinch the bedbugs from your soggy tents, and to improve the taste of the insects that infest your food, and frankly to give you courage when most needed, I, Professor Fenton J. Fleabottom, honored graduate of ancient universities in the Far East, have perfected a certain strong elixir, an elixir that will lift your spirits and put a gleam back in your eyes, an elixir containing a sure cure for what ails you, an elixir that will, from the very first sip, deliver you from evil and place you in the soft, motherly bosom of mankind. A murmur comes from the crowd of young soldiers, and many raise up their hands as if to grasp at invisible bottles. Turn the page. Patience, young heroes, patience, patience. The elixir goes on sale following the show and not a moment before. Have no fear, there's plenty for everyone. Now, if one of you good fellows would hand up that banjo, I will demonstrate how a single dose of Fleabottom's miracle elixir cured my rheumatic joints, improved the dexterity of my digits, and clarified my ears. Listen and be amazed. The professor then commences to flail upon the banjo, and it starts out as a sad and mournful tune, a slow version of Rally Round the Flag, Boys. Then he starts speeding up and really making the old banjo ring. The soldiers begin to clap along, some of them singing, and just when you think the song is done, Minnie slips behind him and somehow takes the banjo from him and keeps strumming without missing a beat. Okay, and so everyone is cheering, and so Minnie does her thing, and then the two brothers come out and juggle, and everyone's having a really great time. And so now go to the bottom of 129. Gentlemen, as the great Roman warrior Mark Antony once famously said, lend me your ears, for I have a tale to tell, a curious tale of woe, a tantalizing tale of tragedy, a strange tale that begins in the great north woods of Maine, where the bear and moose frolic in pine forests, whose feathery tops reach near enough to heaven, in forests dark and dense, where the wolves are as black as moon shadows, and white men's feet have not yet trod the ancient earth. In just such a place, a rare and unusual creature was recently discovered by a band of kindly Indians. The Indians found, turn the page, cowering and snarling in one of their traps, a creature the ancients called a chimera, a hybrid creature, part human, part hog, half boy, half pig. Do you not believe? Do I sense emanations of doubt? Are there skeptics among you? Then, gentlemen, prepare to be amazed. I give you the amazing Pig Boy. His mighty voice ringing in the night, the professor lifts high his lantern as the crate is trundled out of the wagon. In the crate are 3 squealing, frightened little pigs, 3 pigs and me, and I'm squealing too, and snuffling my dirty nose around the slats of the crate and baring my teeth and pretending I'll bite any hand that strays too near. Stand back, gentlemen. Back, I say, be warned, the creature bites. Last week it chomped a hand clean off a wrist, and it has bitten off noses, ears, and once took the last eyeball from a one-eyed sailor. I'm naked except for a pair of skimpy drawers, but it don't hardly matter because I'm so caked with filth and none of my skin shows through. It's like wearing a dirt suit. Minnie helped me stuff leaves in my hair and puff out my ears, and glued a little curly tail on my backside. When she held up a little mirror to admire our work, I nearly screamed. The savage beast in the mirror wasn't me. It couldn't be, could it? Fact is, I'm scaring myself half to death, not because I'm so filthy and ferocious looking, but because it's funny being Pig Boy. We'll stop right there because we have a problem. It's not a big problem, but we do have a tiny problem, and it's that in box 3A you would write, Homer is surprised by how realistic he looks as Pig Boy. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. And you would write down this quote on page 130. When she held up a little mirror to admire our work, I nearly screamed. The savage beast in the mirror wasn't me. It couldn't be, could it? Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to keep reading. Top of page 131. I like wiggling my glued-on tail. I like baring my teeth and squealing like a trapped animal. I like scaring soldiers who are twice as old as me and who leap back like frightened children when I snap their fingers. It's fun to be amazing, to be the star of the show, to have everyone watching you, even if you have to act like a pig. And before long, I really do feel like more animal than human. Watch out there, he'll take your hand off, cries a young soldier backing away. My brain is screaming to be let out of the crate so I can bite all my tormentors. But instead of screaming words, I'm screaming pig noises. Rage, you poor creature, the professor bellows, gesturing with a lantern. Rage at the tragedy of your existence. Rage and squeal against the indignity of your fetid prison. He turns to the astonished crowd, putting a hand over his heart. Gentlemen, I ask you this. A half-breed creature, a thing neither one nor the other, is a thing such as this endowed with a soul? When it dies, will it meet its maker, or shall it return to the dust? A man has a soul, and an animal does not. This is what we've been taught. But what of a half-man? Has it a half-soul, or none at all? The soldiers get real quiet. Only thing making noise is me. Oink, oink, oink. Turn the page. Only God knows the answer, the professor announces, very grand and solemn. Take this poor creature away, he says, calling for the Brillo brothers. Hide it from human eyes, gentlemen. There is no cure for the amazing Pig Boy. But be assured there is ample cure for each and every one of you. The Brillo brothers throw a rug over my crate and sling it back into the wagon. As Minnie hands out the bottles, the professor's golden voice booms in the night. Gather round, Flea-Bottom's miracle elixir will cure what ails you. Satisfaction guaranteed. $1 the bottle, boys, $1 well spent. And for each that buys a bottle, a glimpse of the totally tattooed lady from Cannibal Island. Back inside the wagon, a bucket of soapy water awaits, so that I may clean up and become human again. Lifting the canvas, I glimpse at the soldiers upending their elixir bottles, their eyes glazed in the lantern light. Even covered with pig filth, I can smell the medicine we're selling. I know the smell. Whiskey. Professor Flea-Bottom's miracle elixir is just plain whiskey. And for our solution in 4A, we would write, after pretending to be the pig boy, Homer cleans up and returns back to a regular